Hello, I'm Linord Moudou, Vincent Macorez of today. This is Africa 54. We begin in the U.S. state of Missouri and the funeral of Ferguson teenager Michael Brown, the black teen who was shot by a white police officer. Several thousand people are gathered inside and outside of the Friendly Temple Missionary Baptist Church in the city of St. Louis. They've come to support Brown's family as they mourn and remember their son's life. A number of national civil rights leaders are attending the service, along with 3 officials from the White House. For more, we are now joined via Skype by VOA's Chris Simkins, who's covering the funeral and the ongoing investigation. Welcome, Chris, to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So indeed, today is a very sad day. Can you kind of describe to us what is the mood like at the ceremony?
Well, there's a mix of emotion. I think there's a bit of somberness about a young life that was cut short way too early. And then there is a celebration of sorts going on when they start talking about the promising life of Michael Brown and really celebrating the 18 years that he had on this earth. He was very well liked in the community, very well loved by his parents. And they said he had such a promising future. He was about to go and attend a local vocational community college. He was doing well in high school and had done well in high school. And he's just somebody that is sorely missed by this community. So I would say there's a mix of both somberness and celebration of sort because of the life of Michael Brown.
So after his death, we saw weeks of protest and violence in Ferguson. His father asked for a day of peace during his son's funeral. Did the community react to his word? How did the community receive his message? Is there peace now in Ferguson?
They listened to his message, and there is peace in Ferguson and has been peace in Ferguson for the last several days. We just came back from Ferguson last night, a very peaceful scene. You would not really know that violent demonstrations had taken place there because there was nobody on the streets for the last few nights. And for the last couple of nights, there have been no arrests. So people seem to listen to Michael Brown's father's pleas for peace on this day that he's laid to rest.
So President Obama sent a delegation. Tell us about the people that are there representing the White House.
Well, there's a group representing the White House and President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative. And basically, these White House representatives are here to show support for the family of Michael Brown. And as he walked into the church today, some reporters were able to ask Michael Brown Sr. about the support that he's getting from the White House to so many people across the country who come to this service who never even knew Michael Brown. So it's very emotional for the family to know that they have so much support from the community all the way to representatives of the United States government.
And there are other attendees as well that are celebrities, and such as, can you tell us some of the names that are there?
Well, one of the main pastors, or a well-known pastor here, T.D. Jakes, is here. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, the preeminent civil rights leader, is also here. So you have a mix of civil rights, well-known civil rights activists, and well-known ministers representing various churches throughout the country.
So, Chris, what can be the message for out of this funeral? What will people remember, really? What do you think?
Well, I spoke to several people as they were going into the funeral, and they say they hope something very positive comes out of this enormous tragedy. They hope that Ferguson will be able to rebuild into a stronger community. They hope for reconciliation, that whites as well as black residents of that city can come together to build a stronger community where there is equal representation in the political process. There's also a greater presence of minorities on the police force, because out of 53 police officers, only 3 are African American. So they want to increase minority participation in elected positions, as well as increase minorities on the police force.
Okay, Chris, thank you so much for joining us and giving us this report.
sure.
Chris spent the weekend in Michael Brown's hometown of Ferguson. He had a chance to meet with some residents trying to move on after weeks of racial tension. Here is his report.
People in Ferguson are trying to heal. They also want to rebuild a community torn apart by racial violence after the shooting of an unarmed black teenager by a white police officer during a confrontation on a neighborhood street.
No matter what your race, religion, or creed is, has to be reconciled, because under no conditions should we ever be apart. We have to learn to coincide together.
But how long is you going to let this stuff go on? How long? How long?
Pastor William Davis and members of the Family of Faith Baptist Church are spreading a message of love rather than hate. They're also praying for peace as they try to build a stronger community.
How you doing this morning?
Thomas Nellum says more blacks here have to take part in the political process.
That if we stand together, we can conquer anything. I think that we need to get more people in Ferguson registered to vote so your voice can be heard, things that you don't like about what's going on.
Peace has returned to the streets of this predominantly African-American city. Stores are open, and some residents express a sense of hope that racial tensions will ease. Volunteer John Bonds is cooking free food for people.
And the solution is going to be to bring all sides together to communicate, to make sure that the least of us in this society, the ones that's supposed to be the worst offenders out here, that we have a seat at the table too.
Keisha Nelson drove 2 hours from the state capitol. She wants to inspire young people to become lawyers and seek other professional jobs.
I hope that everybody heals, and healing means love, and it means information. So with that, they should get more jobs. They should be able to get better quality of living going on.
There's still much anger here over the shooting death of Michael Brown, but many residents are using their faith to help heal deep wounds while seeking reconciliation. Chris Simkins, VOA News, Ferguson, Missouri.